All righty, we are live.
Woohoo!
Jared, what's going on?
It's going good, man. How you doing?
Did you seriously just text me and say, what did you want to talk about? with our audience of thousands tuning in this first daily huddle, and you're texting me 2 minutes before saying, what do you want to talk about? That's
we might want to get prepared,
Yeah, well, that's one way to do it. So this is our first daily huddle, in case you can't tell, and we anticipate having somewhere between 1 and 3 viewers during the 15 minutes. But it's all about innovating and trying different things, right, and putting it out there. And you got to start somewhere. So we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook Live, we're on Periscope, we're soon to be LinkedIn Live, soon to be Instagram, but starting with a few spots. And our intent's just to talk about whatever's going on. Every organization seems to have these leadership huddles and every day. And this is a global leadership huddle. We're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about. So, Jared, do you see on the screen, I put the emoji of the day is a cheeseburger.
I see that.
You know why that's there? What's that?
Because I don't get to eat In-N-Out burger right now?
That's right. Those who know Jared knows he loves the double-double, and he doesn't have any in Seattle where he's at. And so I thought I'd put it on the screen just to bring some pain for him. He can't fly anywhere right now. Okay, so we're going to bring on our colleague, Ron Paul, in a moment. Before we do that, what's a headline that stuck out to you in the last maybe 24 hours, 12 hours, or waking up today? We're on the Pacific Coast, by the way, you folks who are in Europe or on the East Coast. What's one headline that stood out to you today, Jared?
Well, honestly, the whole thing about oil prices going negative, in the history of the planet.
Isn't that crazy? We were talking about that at dinner last night, like with Tyler, my 18-year-old. I'm like, what that means is they're paying people
to take oil off their hands.
Man, that is crazy.
It costs them more to store it than it does to pay you to take it. In other words.
Yeah. So oil prices, they're up today. I've noticed right before we came on that they're up 8%, which is awesome. Yeah. So that headline grabbed your attention. For me, it was Jeff Bezos. Did you see what's going on with Jeff Bezos?
No, I didn't see that one.
Like over the last last 6 months, Jeff Bezos, of course, founder of Amazon, right? You all, and ton of respect for Amazon for lots of different reasons. And but Jeff's kind of been this. He's transitioned from being in the day-to-day operations of Amazon to traveling the world and posting pictures on Instagram of him with his. Are they married? His girlfriend. I don't know if they got married.
I don't know.
But anyway. But he's back now at Amazon, leading the day-to-day operations of Amazon. Do you have any idea what's going on at Amazon right now?
No.
So their demand, if you know from a
of course, it's crazy.
You can't order anything, right?
In fact, I bought a few shares of Amazon stock back in March, and I couldn't be happier than I did because it's jumped.
Yeah. So they're actually, of course, dealing with the surge in demand. I'm seeing Ron come in, by the way. Ron, you can lean over. Ron, you can lean. Oh, my goodness. We got Ron.
Are you eating breakfast, Ron?
Okay, we'll go back to Ron in just a moment. I actually just kind of enjoyed watching that.
Double, Jared, this morning.
There's the cheeseburger that just went away. Well, we'll let you finish that. Eat a couple of fries while you're at it. And then we'll bring you back on. Okay, so why I brought up Jeff Bezos, his wealth in the last 6 weeks since Corona, you got people furloughed, you got all this pain in the marketplace, you got companies that are dealing with massive problems. Jeff Bezos's personal wealth in the last 6 weeks has gone up how much? Ron, take a guess.
It's gone up by about 15.3%.
No, that's wrong. Eat another bite of that burger. $25 billion.
Wow.
Jeff Bezos' personal wealth last 6 weeks up $25 billion because of the stock price of Amazon. Because everybody's like hoarding.
And the percentage increase being?
15. What did you say? Whatever you said.
Are you trying to say you're still right, Ron?
Ron, by the way, what can we see what you were eating? Do you have any
I
left?
don't need anything. I just wanted to go to the in and out theme right there.
Oh, were you seriously faking?
I'm an actor.
Wow, man, that was really good. So any headlines? So Jared said oil prices. I said Bezos's wealth. Ron, what headlines stuck out to you in the last 12 hours or so?
Well, I will tell you right now that the jobless benefits last week going out are it's staggering.
It's over 26.
So I will tell you, I've had my more than ever. I'm glued on the Wall Street Journal and a lot of business news going out, even some local news. It's just been fascinating for me. The reflection of the mood of the stock market is a reflection of the mood of as you know, analysts, but also the society in general. So it's just interesting for me always. I remember this in 2008 of seeing the news cycles. In fact, there's studies done around the pessimism in the news cycle is also basically determining where the level of the market is. And right now we're, I would say, near the bottom because everything is so pessimistic. We will start seeing in a little bit more optimism creeping in the news cycle. And that's when you'll start seeing recovery happening at the same time.
Speaking of that optimism, Ron, Russ and I were talking yesterday just about how many of these stories from medical professionals are coming out now that are saying, actually, we've got our arms around this a little more than we thought we did. We don't need the ventilators like we thought we needed. There's different ways of taking care of people that have the virus. There's actually progress being made. There's standards and best practices that have now been identified of how to care for people with the disease. So that you're seeing, not only you're seeing death rates go down for the reasons that we all know, the distancing and all the other things, but we're also seeing death rates go down because the medical community has learned how to handle this at a lot better rate.
Yeah, so I put up a slide that we used on a live online. We're doing these sessions, you all. This one that we're doing today on Facebook, YouTube, some other places is new. We're just experimenting. We will be over the next few weeks. But on Zoom, we've been doing these sessions every Tuesday at what time do we do those, Jared?
10
Yeah, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. We've got over 3,000 people participating, and this was our topic. It seems like it was a couple of weeks ago. Optimism is a choice.
Seems like that was a year ago.
I know, right? It totally seems that way. And it's interesting. We talk about optimism as a choice, and especially when you can't justify it. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to bring this up today because I posted something on LinkedIn about this, and I got hammered by a few people who were saying, "Look, that's Pollyanna. That's absolutely foolish to be thinking in an optimistic way right now." You guys react to that?
Go, Ron.
Interesting article yesterday, Wall Street Journal. Alex, as our HHS secretary, being hammered for overselling the agency's response to COVID virus early on. What he was basically saying was, hey, we've got this under control. It's all good. Don't even worry about it. Some could say that was being optimistic. The challenge was it was not backed up by actions with what actually was happening on. It was underestimating the whole pandemic, and they were caught unprepared. So optimism, I would say, is important, but we also got to make sure that as we're moving forward, that we do have processes in place to handle the situation.
So Ron, I hear you saying it's pragmatic optimism, right? It's okay to be optimistic, but you've got to come with some reality and back that up, right?
Absolutely.
In fact, that's what I love about. Go ahead, Russ.
Go ahead. No, Jared, I was just going to say, talk to me as a leader. Then I'm leading my team. I'm leading an organization, and I see that optimism as a choice. And I think, yeah, that's being blind.
Yeah. So the way I look at this is you can choose to be optimistic. That's a state of mind at any given moment. You can look at the things that are going to give you optimism and remind yourself of those things. But you have to go to work to justify your optimism. That's the part where justifying the optimism to me comes in is you don't just sit around and choose optimism and cross your fingers. You choose optimism, but then you go to work to back up your optimism. You start doing the things that need to be done. You start focusing on what you can control. There you go. You
it.
focus on what you can control so that you can actually impact that optimism and back it up, make it a reality. That's how I would respond, Russ.
You see it the same way, Ron?
I certainly do. Now think about any senior leader in an organization. They cannot control everything. In fact, it's very hard to even manage or control other people. You can't do it. But you focus on what you control in terms of processes and procedures, and ensure follow through that going down the line that you're seeing the reality of what's going on to be able to pivot as needed. When leaders at the top are not grounded with the reality within the organization, they're making suboptimal decisions for the business if they don't fully understand the capabilities of the organization.
So what am I missing? Like, what do you think the folks who make comments like that on a LinkedIn post are thinking? Is it, so you say optimism is a choice, pessimism, because you could choose pessimism, and there's so much justification right now. You don't have to look far to find evidence to justify your pessimism.
Well, play that out in an organization. Play that out in an organization as a leader. If I am being pessimistic, the sky's falling, we're crashing, this company is coming to an end. Which, by the way, I've had a few clients which companies have wiped out the entire employee population except for the leadership team. Play that out. Who wants to work for that kind of organization?
Well, Ron, to your point, I'm playing it out. The only way that ends is in disaster.
That's correct.
If you go to pessimism, people kind of huddle into their own place. They go to the what is it, the Maslow hierarchy of needs or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Not Maslow, is it Maslow?
Yeah,
whatever it is.
You're right.
You go into like self-protection mode. You don't worry about what the company needs. You go to what you need. And so you start ignoring the things that are coming there. So pessimism is going to drive people into a hole. You're going to end up in the fetal position in the corner at some point. So you've got to get people to move and get them thinking differently. The only way you do that is providing some ray of hope. So you've got to choose optimism, but you have to be pragmatic about it. You can't ignore the realities of your situation. You have to understand what those are and then go to work on those by controlling what you can control.
That's the face of leadership. That's the face of leadership. Yeah. Now, listen, any leader, they should have some trusted confidants, hopefully, where, yes, we need to vent. And yes, we may feel the sky is falling, but to be able to talk through that personally, to talk through some of the issues with trusted confidant, that's very important. But then you collect yourself, you get your messaging together, you get the compelling why of how we navigate through this, and you communicate that optimism to the organization. Being pragmatic, to your point, Jared, around hard decisions do need to be made. If it's furloughs and layoffs, and justifying it and helping to understand the why behind it and communicating that why.
Agreed.
So what do you think? So I get all that, right? Of course, I get the impact of optimism, but I still need help understanding what justifies someone who goes, look, optimism, and you can even take the disruption that we're in, this massive disruption out of it. And they're thinking, but choosing optimism is like a foolish decision. It's like, it's being blind.
To me, what I hear on that, Russ, is that
what are they thinking? Help me get into their mind, because I'm seeing some of those comments on LinkedIn on the post that I made, and I'm going,
yeah,
I can't get in that mindset. Like I don't, help me understand what they're thinking.
To me, that's the people that feel like, okay, when you say choose optimism, you're ignoring reality. That's what I hear people saying. And they're not mutually exclusive is the way I would describe it. You can choose optimism while still acknowledging the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
You can understand the current situation, knowing that we're heading for pain. We're heading for some tough decisions. The jobless claims, the jobless rates are 26 million and climbing. That's a reality. But I can still look to what are the things that I can find some optimism in this whole thing, even though I'm in the middle of some of these really painful things. It's a matter for me of where you choose to put most of your focus. It's not that you're ignoring reality. You're choosing optimism in what you can control and focusing on that, even though you understand the realities of the situation. That's how I would describe it.
Here's the fact, Russ, and if people cannot acknowledge this, then they are not grounded in reality. Every crisis, every period of uncertainty has a beginning, and it will have an end. It does. And so to acknowledge that there will be an end is not unrealistic. That's not pie in the sky. It's going to end. And we will all emerge on the other side differently in a new world in which we will have to have made adjustments. So do we bury our head in the sand and not acknowledge that? Because we need to look into the future to understand we need to adjust, and how will we come out of this on the other side will be very important. We have clients right now, you all do as well, that they're not just thinking about how do we get through this crisis, they're thinking about how do we emerge from this crisis better with more market share, better competitive practices in the organization. And those organizations that are focused on that aspect of the strategy right now will come out ahead.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. And the reason optimism for me is so compelling is when I'm choosing optimism, I'm acknowledging the obstacles. Like, I'm not blind to them. I'm not just being Pollyanna and some positive whatever. I see them. I see the obstacle. I see what we've got to deal with, and I see the shift in demand. All of that, and I just choose to focus on, well, okay, what like we showed on the slide, what else can you do? And to me, that puts me in the mode of innovating, of adapting, of offering solutions, where if I choose the other, then I'm totally surrendering to whatever ends up happening. Somebody come rescue me. I'm just going to sit in this lifeboat and see where the wind kind of and the waves kind of blow me. Maybe somebody will come rescue me at some point. No, it's optimism to me is, okay, I acknowledge the obstacles. I see the challenge ahead of me and us, and I'm going to focus on how to get over it, through it, learn from it. That to me is, if you've got a mindset right now of innovation, of adapting, of coming up with solutions, the opportunity that exists for you in all of this is massive.
Totally.
Right? And it seems like as we talk through this, it seems like the pace is so fast for leaders. I think sometimes the best thing that a leader can do is close the door in their home office, put on some Bose noise canceling headphones, turn out the light, and just slow down to reflect and get context.
Now I know what Ron has been doing and why he wasn't answering my call.
That's right.
No, keep going with that, Ron.
But isn't that right? To be able to just get some perspective. And
if you lose perspective, then you make bad decisions. Everything starts getting, the pressure starts getting to you. It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
All right. What else, you guys, before we wrap up this this first edition? Man, I cannot believe we had 17,000 people logged in here.
1.7 million. You missed the zeros there.
Yeah, you got to round up. Anyway.
Personally, listen, it's been interesting for me for the weeks as this virus. I don't know about you two, but 7 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, it was out there somewhere else. As we progressed, I'm now starting to talk with clients that have the virus on the phone as they're coughing. Even just a few days ago, I've now got extended family members that are impacted with the virus. It's just becoming much more personal as we go through. And so it's visceral for all of us right now, this whole crisis. So we're,
that's what's on your mind, Ron, right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the topics that we've been talking about are live online. I just trained yesterday is the importance for empathy. Sometimes people just need to be heard, and we don't even need to offer solutions. They just need to talk through it. They have the solution themselves, and allow them to come up with the solution and just be the sounding board. Right.
Yeah. Jared, what's on your mind as we wrap up?
I'm just thinking through the impact economically of this. Ron, you're hitting the health impact and the personal impact. I'm struck still by just the economics of this whole thing. I'm watching some of these mayors in different states now basically thumbing their nose to their governors saying, we're opening up. We're not staying with the shelter in place thing because we have to. Yeah. We can't survive this economically anymore. My wife just made an interesting comment. She said, you've got these refugee camps in different parts of the world all over the place that are reliant upon donations and food and volunteers. they're weeks away from critical moments of thousands of people starving to death. And we're going to get death on either side of this. The economic impact of this is actually turning out to be something really concerning to me if we don't get the engine going again here around the economics of it.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's the whole political side of this that I don't want anything to do with, right? I've been trying to stay out of that because it creates emotions in me that aren't productive. Right? I'm going to get mad at somebody, right? Like we're live on Facebook, and Facebook's one of the places I've been avoiding because of the political stuff that you get on here sometimes. But I'm torn, you guys, because Ron, I hear what you're saying, and we have family friends who a family friend who was hospitalized for a week with COVID-19. And he came out of the hospital and is recovering. Yeah. And then just a few days later, while he's at home recovering, his father in another state in the middle of the night passes away.
Yeah,
not from COVID-19. They're not sure. At least the latest I heard, they weren't sure about it. But so he's dealing with the health issues. How that's he's an entrepreneur. It's affecting his ability to work. It's affecting his ability to be around his family. His father passes away, and then 2 days later, his mother-in-law in another state dies from COVID-19.
Yeah.
And so you think, I mean, that's real.
It is real.
And you think about the impact of that. I mean, that's enormous. That family that lives just a few miles from where I'm at here in Arizona, right. There are other families where we're going, man, this is no big deal. This is like, why are we even social distancing? This doesn't make any sense. Go out and I'm not telling anyone what to do. That's not my place to do it. But then you have that family going, no, actually, this isn't a small deal. It's totally changed our family. So you have that. I'm trying to balance that, Ron and Jared, with the fact that we do, as you said, Jared, we got to get the economy going again. And I got, we all have kids. I got 3 teenagers here in the house who are just amping to get out and to get back out into life. And so, and we got to get the economy going. I saw, the Ed Bastian, the CEO of Delta Airlines, was saying, I think it was yesterday, that, look, what do we need to do to get America, the world, flying again, to get business going again? So I think, I don't know that there's a right answer. I think we have to balance all that, but I do think a good framework in the middle of all that is this optimism as a choice. So
let me talk to Justin's comment here about hindsight is 2020. What strikes me, Jared, as you make that comment, listen, we are almost a century after the Great Depression right now. For us, the history books, the Great Depression was in our history books. Us and our children right now are living through this economic milestone, which will be remembered for generations to come as well. We are living in a key milestone with how this pandemic has impacted the world economy in an unprecedented way. And so there will be some learnings for all of us, and we and our children will have experiences in person. Later generations will be reading this as history books, just like we are in the Great Depression. It's a very interesting milestone.
Agreed.
Sure. All right, you guys, we'll be back tomorrow, same time. And we hope the millions of you show up again. So thanks, you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Russ.
Back to my In and Out.
Yeah, that's right.